excellent.
Well, it's 2025 and AI is the buzzword. It's talked about more than just about anything else, and it's changing the way that we live our lives, much like the internet did when it began just a few decades ago. Only AI is moving at a much faster pace. But here's something that you may not know. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, spends tens of millions of dollars every year on something so simple that it would probably blow your mind. OpenAI spends tens of millions of dollars, not on marketing, but just show that ChatGPT can say please and thank you. Let that sink in for just a second. We're talking about a machine. We're talking about a robot, a super smart computer assistant that doesn't get its feelings hurt, and yet the team at OpenAI thinks it's so important for the computer assistant to sound polite, human, and considerate that they're willing to pay millions of dollars to make it happen. And the question is why, but the answer is simple. It's because people respond better when they're treated well, even if treated well by a machine. Now, leaders, let's make that personal. If a tech company is willing to invest tens of millions of dollars to make a robot seem nice, then what is it worth to you when you're nice? When you're nice to your customers, when you're nice to your coworkers, or you're nice to your team? Here's an even more sobering question. What is rudeness costing your business? So stick around because we're going to discuss this massive AI investment and what it teaches us about human interaction, and I'll share real-world stories, stats, and strategies that you can use to create a culture where kindness isn't a weakness, but it's your secret weapon. So welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Let's get started.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast. If this brings value to your life, will you do me a favor? Please like, subscribe, share this with others. It would also be amazing if you would leave a review wherever you listen, because this helps add as much value to as many people as possible. Sam Altmon, the CEO of OpenAI, recently said that all of the extra words that people type into ChatGPT, like please and thank you, just being polite to a robot, it actually costs the company tens of millions of dollars every single year. And by the way, just in case you were wondering, around 67% of people are actually polite when talking to ChatGPT. Now, the reason it costs so much money is because when you type into an AI, it uses computing power, and that computing power is not free. So those extra polite words, they're called tokens, and tokens equal money, and in this case, a whole lot of it. But this is the amazing part, that Sam Altman says it's money well spent. The reason is that he believes it's worth it to make this investment, to make interacting with the AI feel more human. And this is the part that I want us to focus on today. So let me ask you this. If it's worth tens of millions of dollars for a machine to respond nicely to people, how much more valuable is it for humans to treat each other with kindness? Here's the truth that I think many of our businesses are missing today. Being rude has a cost. Owners, leaders, managers, employees, listen to me. Being rude comes at a high price. Now, rudeness may not be on the line item of the P&L, but trust me, it's there. A 2016 study in the Harvard Business Review found that a rude environment in the workplace doesn't just make people feel uncomfortable, it makes them worse at their jobs. See, people who work in rude environments are 61% less likely to be helpful, they're 45% less productive, and 38% less committed to the organization, all because of rude environments. And to understand its full impact, when someone just witnesses rudeness, even if it's not directed at them, it lowers both performance and creativity. Some of you may remember the famous rude Comcast encounter of 2014 that went viral. There was a journalist named Ryan Block, and he tried to cancel his Comcast service. Now, what should have been a very simple call turned into an 8-minute long tug of war with a retention rep. And this guy was not going to take no for an answer. The rep was rude, he interrupted, he argued, and absolutely refused to let Block cancel without a full interrogation, asking why and what was his reason and why was he going to, he just would not stop. As a matter of fact, the call was taking so long that Block was able to record the interaction. The guy was so rude, so Block said, I've got to record it. And he recorded and put it online, and within 48 hours, the clip had millions of listeners. News outlets ran the story. Late night shows began to mock it in their dialogue. If you missed it, I want you to take a second and just listen to this clip for yourself.
The way that you can help me right now,
finding answers by doing all this.
the way that you can help me is by disconnecting our service. That's how you can
How
help
is
me.
that helping you, though?
Because that's what I want.
Explain to me how that's helping
That's
you.
what I want.
Okay, so why is that what you want?
Because that's what I want.
Okay, so, there has to be some sort of reason behind it. That's what we're trying to find out. We just want to find out what it is that's causing a customer that's been with us for a long time to leave.
Because that's what we want.
Okay.
Now, Comcast issued an apology, but the damage was already done. The story had become the poster child for what's wrong with customer service. And I'm sad to report that since then, it's only gotten worse. The American Customer Satisfaction Index says that customer satisfaction has been on a continual decline over the last several years. And ultimately, the scores are reaching their lowest levels in 2 decades. See, all it takes is one rude rep, one tone-deaf interaction, and you've got a brand nightmare. Now, the employee, Comcast, he probably thought he was doing his job. That's how he had been trained. See, after all, he is in the retention department. His job is to retain the customer. Now, I know that Comcast painted him as one bad apple. Comcast tried to explain it as if it was one guy who didn't have manners, who was rude, who wasn't kind, that was ruining the company. But we've all had these interactions with customer service, and we know that that's not the case. As a matter of fact, I look back at the customer satisfaction score of Comcast in the same year that this conversation happened, and I found a statement from Comcast Executive VP David Cohen where he said himself, "We are deeply disappointed as to where we are." In other words, he was not even happy about where Comcast was when he was leading it that very year. It wasn't one rep, it was a culture of rudeness. And I say this a lot, but your employees, they are the conduit of your culture. They give what they have been given. And that's why we're talking about this today. Now, I realize that not every rude moment is going to go viral. But in this age, the age of reviews and recordings and receipts, every conversation has the potential to make or break your reputation as an organization. A 2023 Salesforce report said that 88% of customers say the experience that a company provides is as important as its product. Listen to that. Not better than, not a bonus, but equal. 88% of your customers say that their experience that they have with your company, with your customer service, with your buying experience, with your sales and your repair, all the things service that you do, that you are providing, that is as important as the product that they have purchased. That is a powerful understanding. Now, thankfully, there are still companies that value kindness, just like Sam Altman with OpenAI and ChatGPT. The Ritz-Carlton is a masterclass in what intentional kindness can look like as a company. Did you know that every Ritz-Carlton employee is empowered to spend up to $2,000 to solve a guest problem or to even make the experience more memorable? Now, that's $2,000 not per day, not per year, but per guest, per incident. And they don't even need a manager's approval to make it happen. There are stories where this allowance has been used to comp meals, to buy a guy's wife flowers, and even one where they sent a guest to a restaurant in a limousine. See, they believe that building strong customer relationships are important and that the lifetime value of a satisfied guest significantly outweighs the cost of resolving an issue. Now, I can already hear some of your thoughts right now, so let me address it. You're saying, that must be nice, but my company is not the Ritz-Carlton. I don't have their resources, but I want to encourage you. Don't get lost in these details. The principle is what I want us to catch. Kindness doesn't even have to cost a lot of money. You can do it on a budget. Let me give you an example. The Hearn family had vacationed at the Ritz-Carlton on Amelia Island in Florida, and they returned home and they found that they had left their son's favorite stuffed animal, Joshy the giraffe, back at the Ritz-Carlton. Now, that night, their son just would not go to sleep. He was so upset. He didn't have his stuffed animal. He slept with it every night. He couldn't go to bed. So Chris, his dad, told him that Joshy the giraffe was just having a little extended vacation and would be fine, that he would be home soon. And it happens that that same night, the Ritz-Carlton called. They said they had found Joshy in the laundry and that he had been given to the hotel's loss prevention team, and they were going to mail it back. And Chris told them about his conversation he had just had with his son, and he asked if they would mind taking a picture of the giraffe on a chair by the pool. And he wanted to prove that the Joshy was safe and he was enjoying his extended vacation so he could show it to his son. And unbelievably, they agreed to do it. A couple of days later, the stuffed animal, Joshy, arrived in the mail just like promised. But it wasn't just Joshy. There was a Ritz-Carlton Frisbee, there was a football, and an extra special surprise had been packed on the inside. They actually included a binder full of pictures that documented the experience at the hotel for Joshy. There were pictures of Joshy laying by the pool, having a massage at the spa, playing with other stuffed animals, and one even driving a golf cart on the beach. And then my favorite, there was a picture of Joshy working on the security cameras, making sure that nothing else got lost. Now, this is the excellence that I think most of us are missing in our organizations. And we can all do this. This didn't cost anything. This is powerful. This is more than customer service. This was making a memory. And this kindness doesn't just create loyal customers. This is what creates legendary companies that I want all of us strive to be. Now, take this principle of kindness and put it in your world. What is your equivalent, or do you have an equivalent of that $2,000 kindness gesture? And I'm not just talking about the money, I'm talking about the gesture. And if you have it, the most important question is, do your people feel trusted enough to use it? See, the $2,000 isn't about the money, it's about trust. It's about giving your team permission to be thoughtful. If your team feels like they are treated with trust, they will treat your customers with care. So here's the big question. How do we do this? How do we go from being a company or an organization where kindness is optional or even omitted altogether to a culture where kindness is standard? Well, there's a lot of focus right now on training artificial intelligence, but I want to shift our focus today to training human intelligence. So I want to give you 5 practical ways that you can do this in your organization to create a culture of kindness. Number 1, you have to program it. Program it into your culture. ChatGPT and other services just like it, they're amazing. And it's really mind-blowing. I mean, every day they're getting better, all the things that they can do. But when you simplify it, when you take its complexity and you simplify the process, it's simply a computer that has been programmed. And just like AI runs on its core programming, your organization runs on its core values. And if kindness isn't programmed into the company's DNA, it will not last. Now, this can't be a poster in the break room kind of value. This has to be real. It has to be modeled. It has to be talked about. This kind of kindness must be authentic. You have to lead from the top down. It has to be led by leaders who show it and don't just say it. If the tone at the top is cold, it will be frozen at the bottom. But if the leadership is warm, the whole culture will catch fire in the best possible way. Your leadership programs the system. Program what you want presented by your organization. So if you take an aerial view and you think that it could use a little more kindness, you have to program it in. And then number 2, you need to train it. You need to train it. If you're going to program it, you're going to make it a value at the very framework of your culture and your organization, then you have to pass it along and train it. The fact that ChatGPT is polite is not an accident. It didn't just happen on its own. No, ChatGPT is polite because it was trained to be. And if your organization is going to be kind, it won't happen on its own and it won't happen by accident. Kindness isn't common sense. Kindness is a taught behavior. And if you want your organization to be kind, you're going to have to train it. Now, this should be a part of onboarding. It should be included in training manuals and continually reinforced in all continued training and development that you provide for your team. So you need to train empathy. You need to train patience. You need to train the tone of voice in which people speak. How about body language? It's important. Train active listening, a service mindset. There are so many traits that need to be trained for kindness. And I said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Employees are the conduit of your culture. They give what they've been given. So basically, you get what you teach, not what you preach. You have to train your team. And then number 3, you need to equip it. You have to equip it. Even the best AI is useless without the right resources, and so are your people. Sam Altman is investing tens of millions of dollars each year equipping its AI to be kind. So I need you to equip your employees with simple ways to be kind. So during my time working with Apple, for example, I spoke to a lot of angry people every single day. I helped people who had thousands and thousands of dollars worth of charges for various reasons, and they were angry about their money. I helped people recover accounts that had been hacked, and they were angry about their accounts. I even helped other Apple employees navigate these same issues by helping them with their customers as they were trying to solve the problems. Now, like the Ritz-Carlton, Apple equips its employees to different degrees, but they equip them with different ways to take care of its customers just to show kindness. Apple calls this enriching the experience. So employees at certain levels were equipped with things that they could do. And if they wanted to do more, they could reach out to me, and I was equipped to do even more, to give greater permission. See, it was simply programmed and trained into the Apple culture to enrich the customer's experience. They even adopted a term for it. It was taught and trained at the very framework for every single employee. And the results are hard to argue. Apple is consistently ranked high in customer service satisfaction every single year. So let me ask you this clarifying question. Have you equipped your team for kindness? Do they have clear permission? And do they have a clear process? Because many of us may respond and go, of course I want my team to be kind. Of course we have a culture of kindness. But if you haven't equipped them in ways to do it, if you haven't given them clear permission to be able to do it, and there's no clear process, I can promise you, kindness is being missed in your organization. So equip them with a weekly kindness fund. Give them something that they can spend every week so that they can use it at their discretion. Give them the freedom to offer a discount or provide swag so that you can give it away to customers just to say thank you, to enrich their experience. See, some of the smallest gestures can make the biggest impact. You don't have to give away a new car just to enrich their customer experience. But when you do something to show that you care about your customers, it's a big deal. It can make a big impact. And not only for your team, but it also makes a big impact for your customers. It makes a big impact on your culture. See, your customers feel appreciated and your team feels empowered that they can lead and make decisions. It is powerful. The number 4, monitor it. You have to monitor this. We all monitor very important metrics in our organizations. You're monitoring your revenue. You're monitoring your profit margin or your customer retention. You're monitoring your employees. What's the turnover rate? Are we holding on to them? Are they staying? Are they leaving? You monitor a lot of things. But in addition to these, I think kindness should be added to the list of things that are important to monitor. If we truly believe that kindness or politeness is profitable and that your culture matters, then we've got to monitor the mood of our business. So let me give you some key ways that I think that you can do this. Real quick, I think you could add emotional tone to your customer surveys. So some of you have customer surveys where you ask about their experience, but don't just ask, were you satisfied? Ask a question like, how did this interaction make you feel? So you can use prompts like, did you feel respected? Was the tone warm and helpful? Did this experience improve your day? So you're hearing directly from your customers, and you want to know if they were treated with respect. You wanted to know if they were treated with value. You want to know if they felt like they were valuable. So ask questions that just give an emotional tone so you can understand how your reps are treating them. Another thing you can do is introduce a kindness score on performance reviews. You do performance reviews with your team. So in addition to productivity and punctuality, include something like tone and team. Just give a category that asks, does this employee consistently use polite and professional language? Are they known for creating positive customer or coworker experiences? Because you can track the interactions with both customers and the coworkers. Another thing is to track compliments, not just complaints. We're really quick to log all the bad stuff, those negative reviews, the angry emails. But let me ask you this. Are you tracking the praise? Don't just track all the complaints that's coming in, but track the compliments. Know what your customers are appreciating. Know what they're saying. Know who it is that they're saying it about. Another strategy you can use to just maintain or search out the quality of the care, the kindness in your culture is to use mystery shoppers or mystery callers. Just have someone go through your process and grade you. So for example, if you're a retail store, have someone come in and shop with you. Have someone that you know is coming. Maybe you don't know when, your team does not know who they are. And they come in, they go through every process of their experience, and they just give you a grade from the moment they pulled onto your property, entered your front doors, the buying process, the selection, the placement, the checkout, all the things, and let them give you feedback. If you have a call center, let people call in. Let them give you feedback on the experience they had in speaking with your team. Another thing that you can do is to just monitor the internal communication channels that you use. The things that you're using like Slack, email, all of these different things just to communicate internally with your teams. See, the tone doesn't stop with customers. So you have to ask yourself, are our Slack messages respectful? Or are they snarky? Are our emails clear and encouraging? Are they cold? Are they clipped? See, the way your team interacts together is a good indicator of how they're going to interact with the customers outside of your walls. Another one that I would give you, the last thing I would say is watch social media and your online reviews. Now, I know that people who are angry speak the loudest. Often people who have had a bad experience, they say nothing at all. They just walk away. But many people will give you feedback. They'll give you reviews. So I want you to remember that what gets measured or what gets managed and what gets measured is also what gets improved. So if you want something to get better, you have to measure it, you have to manage it in order for it to improve. So if you're looking at your social media feedback and it's not what you want to be, I want you to take all of this into consideration and say, how can we change the customer experience? Another thing that I will mention to you about your reviews, it's very interesting to see, is the positive reviews that you have oftentimes will mention an individual on your team, in your company, who has helped that person. The reviews that are positive, more times than not, will reflect an individual over the company every single time. That's why kindness is so important. Now, I know that we've covered a lot of ground today, so let's recap. ChatGPT is nice to you because it was trained to be, and because its creators believe that kindness matters, even in a machine. But you're not a machine. You're a leader. You're a teammate, you're a customer, you're a human being. You have the power to make someone's day simply with a word, simply with your tone, or simply with a thank you. And that's something that you can start doing right now. You can do it today. So here's your challenge. This week, identify one place in your life, personally or professionally. Then inject some intentional kindness into that situation and watch what happens. Identify just one place that needs a little attention, that needs a little kindness, and then inject that and watch the difference that it makes. Because if saying please and thank you is worth millions to a robot, imagine what it's worth to you, what it's worth to your employees, and what it's worth to your customers. So what is the impact of kindness in your life or in your organization? I would love for you to tell us about it. So if you're watching on YouTube or a social media channel, let us know. Put a comment down there, start the conversation, and let us know what you're doing to be kind in your organization. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Mind Your Business podcast. Hey, if you found this helpful, just like always, like, subscribe, share this with a friend, leave a review, and until next time, go and mind your business and be kind.